Hi artists, we're going to start off by dividing our papers into either 4 or 6 sections. It's completely up to you, and you can do this in many different ways. I'm just going to show you one way of doing it. Now I'm not concerned with my lines being too perfect and straight, so I'm just making one single mark on my paper and then just doing a line across. So if that line is not perfectly straight going across, that's okay. So my half of my 9 is at 4.5. So I'm obviously dividing my paper into just 4 sections. So I'll just divide each section into half. Now, I want to see an example of perspective in at least one of these sections. So let's see. I might just do a fun little hi right here. And that's going to be my perspective. Now I could do my vanishing point down here, over here. I could do it wherever. I'm just going to make my little vanishing point right there. And we've already gone over perspective, so hopefully by this time you understand the perspective. So I'm just going to take each corner to that little vanishing point like we've discussed in the past. So I'm done with that. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and start a little section of Zentangles right here. Now you notice I'm grabbing my pencil right now. I'm just going to have some fun shading and just the little kind of edges of these shapes, just for fun. You don't have to. Hey guys! Alright, it's time to put together our reflection cubes, and you can see this fun mirror board, and hi! We got this mirror board, and so we are going to turn this into a little cube. The first thing I am going to do is I'm going to fold this in half very carefully. So I'm making sure the corners meet up, the edge of that paper meets up, and I'm actually, you could take a ruler, you could take your finger, but I think a ruler's easiest. Lining that up perfectly. And I'm going to make a little fold. Notice I'm kind of starting over a couple times. You really want to try to get this perfect, or as perfect as possible. Now that I kind of have that pinch, now I'm going to take that ruler again and make that final little crease. So you can see I'm using that ruler, kind of, it's what we call a bone folder, to just make that crease nice and crisp. So I've got my mirror board folded in half now. Now, in order to make my mirror board fully a cube, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take one side and I'm going to fold it as carefully as I can to that little center line or crease. Once again, I'm going to kind of press that down just a little bit and then finish that off with my little ruler or bone folder, just making that little crease like that. Here, I'll move this out of the way, that might be easier. So now I've got that. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. We're going to grab this end and I'm going to bring it in like so. Whoop. And then get this bone folder and like so. Bring it in like that. Easy peasy. So now I have my little mirror board divided into 4. I'm going to take a piece of tape actually, and I'm going to carefully, with it folded in like that, I'm going to stick a little piece of tape right there. Boom. There we go. Now I've got my little cube. Easy peasy. Next thing I'm going to do, now you should have all of your sections filled out or mostly filled out. You are going to then take your little mirror board and take it over those sections and start to look and see what appeals to you the most. There's no right or wrong. This is where you're having a critical eye as an artist or a critique person. You are art critic, critique person, art critic, kind of looking and seeing what appeals to you the most. I could even go over and my perspective, even though I really didn't finish that out too much, that does look pretty cool. Now you do want to make sure that, see right here, my little reflection cube would be hanging off the paper, so you don't want that to happen. So I'm going to move this back over here. I'm probably going to choose this section just because I figured this section is a little bit more finished and polished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully hold right there wherever I choose to make this go. I think I'm going to go right there. And by the way, guys, if you want to do multiple sections, you certainly may. You don't have to just keep it in one section. I'm going to carefully do a little outline or trace around the edge of my box very, very carefully. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm just basically marking where I want to cut my paper. So you can see, I know that's a little hard to see. I'm going to draw that a little bit darker so you can see. And you could even do that part in Sharpie if you're having a hard time seeing on top of your design. I'm just going to darken that up a little bit. Now I need to cut a lot more than that though, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be wrapping that paper around. So I'm just going to kind of take my ruler out, I'm just going to eyeball it and draw an extra big square all the way around. Now this part is what I'm going to be cutting. And you're going to see what I mean in just a minute. Just trust me that you're going to have to make the cuts a little bit bigger. Make that one a little bit thicker too. Now I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to cut, cut, cut. It doesn't need to be perfect. Do your best. Okay, so now I have my little square from this. Now you probably want to keep yours because you've got some really cool designs on here. So set this aside. You're done with that for today, but again, I would keep this. Now what I'm going to do, I've got this on here. I am going to go ahead, I'm going to cut a little corner out. Now you can either go ahead and do this if it makes sense, or if you want to draw a little line out from each corner. So you can see from each little corner of that square, I'm drawing little lines out. And they're making little individual squares too. Now those little individual squares, I'm going to go ahead and cut. And boop, easy peasy. And boop, easy peasy. You're going to see mine's not perfect. Now I think I might go ahead and kind of give this a little bit of a fold while I don't have that reflection cube on it. That's just going to help it kind of wrap around what will be the base of that reflection cube. So you can see I'm just folding along the lines, or I'm making a little crease. Oh, this is so cool, guys. So now I set that reflection cube in there and I am ready to wrap. Easy peasy. So now I'm going to get my glue. Less is more, guys. You do not want too much glue. I'm putting a simple little line of glue right there. A simple little line of glue right there. Notice I'm doing one line. I do not want the glue seeping out the edges. And I'm just going to wrap and wrap like that. So all I've done is I've folded those edges up and I am just going to hold it. Now however best you want to hold it, I mean I know you've only got 10 fingers and we could probably use about 15 for this, but you can hold it like that. You can turn it upside down and hold it down, but you do want to just kind of press and hold. If it's too much for you to hold all 4 sides at once, or you feel like that's a little bit too much, you could always just start with 2 sides and then finish with 2 sides. But I'm literally, I know it's going to test your patience, but I'm probably going to be holding this for a minute or 2 straight to make sure that this really adheres to the mirror board. And then what you're going to end up with is an amazing reflection cube. Oh, I love how that looks. It looks really, really awesome. All right, thanks for listening, guys.